Hello and Hello and welcome to another episode of the Nothing to Play podcast, a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and puppy troubles. As always, it's your boy, Just in Time Carter, and with me on episode 34, returning, I've missed him, he's got a new dog, love his face, Mr. Tanner Coach.
Hey, glad to be back. I wonder who holds the record of most times guesting on this show.
I think it's a toss-up between you and Matt.
Yeah, I'd be curious to go back and look at that.
Dude, how have you been, though?
Good, same shit as always, just ridiculously busy. But yeah, things are on the up and up. Things have definitely been different. When was the last time we did this? Was that the group one where we did the Marvel movies?
It was... Let's see, I'm looking for the last time. Yeah, last time you were on was... No. Was it honestly September? End of September?
That can't be right.
Marvelous
that does it.
With Troy? I mean, I know. Well, for the podcast, I know we did the Star Wars
video
review.
one.
Yeah, that was the video.
Oh, it was Star Wars. That's what it was. Right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Damn.
I know.
That's crazy. If that's true.
It's so long ago. I didn't think it was that long.
Yeah, I don't know. Time doesn't make sense to me anymore. You realize we're already a quarter of the way done with 2021?
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna be 31 and well, we're both gonna be 31.
Yeah, our birthdays are like a week apart.
I know. Megan was asking me the other day. Megan was trying to figure out her age, and she was she can never remember how old she is. So she's like, you're 30, right? And I was like, unfortunately. I was like, dude, not for much longer either, though.
My boss the other day, he asked me, he's like, Tanner, how old are you? And I'm like, 30. He's like, oh, okay. You'll get this reference then. This tool going to this new tool is going from Windows 95 to Windows 98.
Yeah, the dude.
I was like, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that was a drastic shift. So I'm pretty excited for the tool he was talking about, needless to say. But yeah, and it's funny too because people are getting vaccinated and stuff now. So the wife is like, I want to because you didn't get a 30th birthday party, I want to throw you a big one this year if people are going to feel comfortable going. That is, of course. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm down. I bought this house last year and I rigged it up to be a perfect party house and then proceeded to have 0 parties because of COVID.
Dude, I know. Megan, for my 30th, we were supposed to go to Disneyland and stuff since I haven't been, in Universal Studios and stuff. We were supposed to just go to California, but it's I haven't been to Disneyland since 2001 when California Adventure first opened.
Holy shit.
And stuff, so it's they have all the Marvel shit now. I wanted to do the Star Wars stuff and all this new stuff that's I've never seen, and then COVID happened, so we're okay, well, we'll just push it back a couple months, and it's that's not gonna happen, and then they're okay, maybe this year, and then it's dude, I still don't think that's gonna happen.
It's oh yeah, so a year ago was our 1-year wedding anniversary, and then it was right before shit hit the fan. It was in February 2020. And I bought us tickets to Santa Clarita in LA and Six Flags and some other events and stuff. And then she bought us tickets to New York because even though I lived in Pennsylvania when I was a tiny tyke, I don't really consider I've never really been to the East Coast, so I always wanted to go to New York and Boston and all that shit. So we were gonna do that. And then, of course, we couldn't do either of those things. We ended up having to cancel the trip. So then we just ended up... and then also, we couldn't get refunds on the plane tickets. That got credits, and they expired by, March. So we just, took several trips to Washington and stayed in her mom's house in the woods several times, like to escape. But like, other than that, I'm like thirsty for an actual vacation. But then on our anniversary this year, she got us tickets to Disney World for 5 days late this year. So I'm looking forward to that because I've always wanted to go to Florida too, and those parks are sick over there, like Disney World and Universal. So I want to check those out. So I'm ready for it, but like I can't even wait until then though. Like this weekend I've been looking at like just doing like a Cali trip or something. But I'm a Disney nut, so like we go to Disney all the time. Well, we go to Disneyland a lot, obviously, because it's close to us in Arizona. But then we also went to Disney Paris when we spent a week in France. It was cool. But I'm psyched for Disney World because that's like a whole different beast.
Well, yeah, dude. And we were supposed to go to Japan last year, or
Right? Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and that didn't happen. And same thing though, we got the credits and stuff. Like, I think since Megan's the one that bought the ticket, like I don't even honestly know if we even still have the credits or if they expire like this year. Like I haven't really looked into it, but then it's like it's probably not gonna happen this year either. And I'm like, dude, because like Super Nintendo World just opened finally, like in Japan. Cause,
That's right. Yeah, yeah. I aren't they also building it in the Cali one, but it's not going to open for like another year or something.
yeah, it's supposed to be that. I believe they're supposed to be doing it in the California Universal Studios, and I want to say there's Universal Studios in Florida that they're also doing
there's
it.
Orlando.
But yeah, they're not coming until like I want to say they said like 2023, 2024 or something like that.
I've only been to Universal Studios once, and it was like 5 years ago. We went to LA and we went to Universal today. I loved it because you could go through the whole park in one day, uh, and that was legit. I loved the Harry Potter portion, like that was amazing. But yeah, I want to go back really bad, but I'm holding off until, well, obviously this shit is over, and also mainly I just want to wait until the Nintendo shit is there. But our next big trip we were gonna do was also Japan, but we were saving for it, and then we didn't have to once COVID hit. We're like, okay, that's never gonna fucking happen.
I
Like
know.
we'll wait a little while longer.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's definitely at the top of our to do list as far as next travel destinations. But we also lucked out because like in 2019. The year we got married, we went fucking everywhere that year. Like we went to Europe and went all over there for like 2.5 weeks, and then we went to Hawaii, and Canada and Mexico, and like and then we also did a Disney trip that year too. So like yeah, we went all over the place. So we're kind of ridiculously lucky that got all that shit in right before you couldn't do anything for a year plus.
Yeah, I was like, since we can't go to Japan, it's like I have 3 weeks of vacation, and I'm just like, well, not using any of it on Japan now. So it's like but I'm like, I'm so spent from fucking work. Like, we're both at the point where I'm like, dude, I'm like, middle of April to take a week off sounds good. Like, and just like, probably go to, it's like the Scottsdale Princess or whatever. It's like a resort and stuff, and they have the spa and stuff. Probably just like hang out at home and then go there for like a couple days and just like do a staycation, do like a spa day and shit. Get like a deep tissue massage and like just stuff my face with food.
Hell yeah. Like I gotta factor like the weird thing is too now is like trying to think about like how do you do that with your like what 4 massive dogs?
Well, see, and
Like
that's the thing is like luckily at least because it's like literally half an hour away from us, whatever.
yeah,
like,
you could just go check on them because it's just in Scottsdale.
yeah.
But like it's something that I hadn't considered before. So then I'm like thinking about this Cali trip, and I'm like, oh, I should probably look to see about something a way to bring the dog. And it's just like a whole different ball game as far as like your options for staying places.
Yeah, you'll realize, yeah, once you have animals, it becomes harder to be gone for extended amounts of time, especially with a puppy. Like when they were like young, like now our dogs are old enough to where like when we're gone for long periods of time, or like when we've done trips before where we're gone like multiple days or like a week or whatever, like they're pretty much good. I mean, inside they have the dog door, they can do whatever. It's really just someone coming over, making sure they have food and water, and then like hanging out with them like for like an hour, or a couple hours, so that they're not like lonely, but they're pretty self-sufficient at this point. But But yeah, going to like the princess and stuff, I mean, pretty much all we need to do is just like the afternoon or whatever when we leave, just make sure they have food, and then like Megan's mom or something can come and check on them like Saturday, make sure they have food and stuff, and then we'll be back like Sunday, so they should be fine.
Yeah, we can't. Our problem is we can't have the dog door because of all of our fucking cats. Like we don't. They've never been outside before, and we're worried they're gonna escape. And yeah, so like we gotta let her outside, but obviously, and she's a ridiculously smart dog, and she was like potty trained like the first week. Like she doesn't ever go inside. If she needs to go, she'll just go stand by the door, and then I'll let her out, and then she'll go. But like we put her in the kennel overnight when she's sleeping, just because she just will chew the shit out of like the table.
Yeah, she's at that phase. Yeah, our dining room table, one of the legs is very much chewed on, and one of the dining room chairs from when they were puppies just laying under the table gnawing at shit. So what is your dog's name? Like, you didn't say what breed your dog. I mean, I know what breed your dog, but for the podcast.
Oh, yeah, so it's a golden retriever. She's 4 months old. Her name is Misty, like Pokemon.
Adorable.
Yeah, she's ridiculously cute, and like every vet we see or every person is just like, oh my god, like she is so fucking cute.
Well, yeah, golden retrievers are
like,
one of those breeds of dogs where when you're walking out, you're just they're happy to be anywhere, and everybody's just happy to see them because they're just so excited.
And I've been so resistant to dogs for so fucking long, and she just like, always brings it up or whatever. And I don't know, she just caught me in a good mood, like, and just like a series of boredom as well. And she was like insistent on like golden retrievers for whatever reason, and then she was like going through pages like, these are all the ones that are at our disposal. I'm like, no, and she's just like scrolling through pages and pages, and then I'm just looking through the pictures, and I'm like, whoa, 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 and I'm like, stop, go back. I'm like, that one I would take. Because she was like, it's like a fucking movie dog, baby. Like she was like a straight out of a movie like puppy. Like, it's ridiculous. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't look like any of the other ones. Like, I would take that one. Like, I can't say no to that face. So that's how it went. But yeah, she's really bad about biting. She's been getting better, but she's ridiculously smart. Like, she knows all sorts of, commands and tricks already. Like sit, lay down, roll over, shake. If I tell her to go outside, she'll go outside. If I tell her to go to bed, she'll go run into her kennel. Like, yeah, it's dope. So I like it in that regard, because growing up, as you know, my parents were always terrier folk. So they always had the most obnoxious little barky dogs that are dumb as hell and can't learn things. But like, so this is my first experience with like a big dog, and it's cool how smart and trainable they are.
Now, does Misty get along with the, like, I know you said earlier, whatever, that like Misty was trying to get into the Harry Potter cat room and stuff, but does she actually get along? Do the cats get along with her?
So they're still really weird with her and like terrified of her. It's like Luke just is a fucking dick. Like, he hates her. Like, if she starts walking up the stairs, he'll be at the top of it. And I installed like a baby gate so she can't get up there. But like, he'll just start hissing at her like profusely. The other two are really interested in her, but are still like kind of scared of her. So like, if she starts like walking towards them, they'll like go backwards and like just kind of hunch over or whatever, and they'll occasionally like hiss at her. But like, she's really good. She doesn't like attack them or anything. She just wants to look at them and like smell them. But then yesterday we started because she's been here over a month, you can hear her now probably. We were trying to get them used to each other, so we brought them into our bedroom where all the cats are always at now. And we just had her sit there on her. We put her harness on so we could hold her back if she wanted to get too close to the kids. But the other two were really good, but Luke's still a dick. Like, he was hiding in the closet, and she walked in there, and he instantly just like slashed her face as soon as she walked in there. So like, he's just being a lunatic. But the other two seem to be warming up to her.
Because, yeah, that's how it kind of is at our house is, like Bunny and Sarah with Oswald, like Oswald, they don't really give a shit about him, and he doesn't really give a shit about them, so they're like on good terms. But dude, Atlas and Rex though will come like running at Oswald and like bark at him and shit, so they're the ones that like start shit with him. So then it gets everyone else riled up and stuff. So it's like we have to constantly basically keep them separated. And it's like I'm not even worried about Oswald. I'm worried about the like Oswald will like claw, like he's swung at Rex before, like when he was on the windowsill and I didn't realize he was out and stuff. And he's like swung at Rex and like one of his claws got stuck in like Rex's like nose, like near his eye. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no, I don't want to take him to the vet for like a cat claw in the eye. Like, so we kind of have to keep them like separated and stuff, where it's like Oswald is pretty much in the room the majority of the day, and then the dogs are out, and then like when we like start making dinner or whatever, the dogs have to go up anyway, so then Oswald will come out, so then he'll be out for like the entire evening and stuff, and then go back in the room.
Man, I don't know how you do it. Like, it's brutal just dealing with one, like, massive puppy.
Dude.
Like, I can't imagine when they were little and growing pains, like, how that was.
Oh, dude, I mean, even to this day still, like, there's still, like, speaking of which, they still do shit. Like, the other day, we were eating dinner. Like, dinner was done. We had, what the fuck did we have? We had, like, steak and like asparagus and like French bread and shit like that. Fucking me and Megan are sitting in the living room watching TV, and Bunny jumped up on the counter and took like half a loaf of fucking French bread. And I saw him and I yelled at him and I was like, hey! And then he ran outside with it. And then so I'm chasing him around outside, and like then he like books it back inside, and then I blocked off the dog door and I pinned him like into the corner of the dining room. And he had a fucking death grip on it, and I couldn't get it out of his mouth because the bread was wet at this point, so it's like kind of half soggy. So I ripped half of it off and put it on the bookshelf. And I'm like, dude, Megan, can you come like help me get this shit out? And like he would not drop it, so she was like, dude, fuck it. So he ate like a third of a loaf of French bread, and I'm like, dude, I hope that gives you the fucking shits, like, you piece of shit, like. And he's done shit like that before too. Like he took what happened? He knocked an entire fucking cookie sheet of, I was gonna go cook steak, and I had like I think like 3 or 4 steaks like on this cookie sheet, and he like knocked it off the stove while I was setting up the barbecue outside, and he fucking took a steak and ran outside and ate the fucking raw steak. I was like, dude, what the fuck? And then other steaks are now on the floor, like covered in dog hair and dirt and shit. And I was like, well, it looks like we're having pizza for dinner. Like,
God damn it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All power to you. That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like they're crate trained and stuff, and like everyone like is good like in their crates and stuff. But Bunny is just. Megan raised him to be the whiniest little fucking bitch. Like, he'll sit there and cry. Like, they used to be in their crates, like, all day while we were at work and stuff. And then now it's like, he's gotten so spoiled since we're home all day now and stuff. And, like, he just sits there. It's like, he's been in a crate for 5 minutes, and he's just crying his fucking eyes out. And I'm like, dude, like, you've been in there like, you're coming out in, like, 40 minutes. Like, you need to calm down. He's, like, sitting there, like, banging on the door of the crate, just crying and crying. I'm like, Bunny! And I'm like, shut the fuck. And I have to put the blanket over him because I'm like, dude, no one else is doing this. I'm like, it's just you. Like, you're being super fucking extra right now.
God damn it.
But yeah, so I know the struggle too of having to move the cat shit, because we have Oswald's litter box is like in this like giant white box thing that, you know, he can walk into and stuff, so it like helps with the smell and like whatever, and litter not going everywhere. And we had to literally move that giant thing into our bedroom because since they have to be separated all the time, like Oswald can't like just go out into, because it was kind of like in the dining room area, like with the fireplace and bookshelves and shit, and he can't just walk out there like whenever he needs to now and like go, because the dogs are out all the time. And even when they were in crates, all their crates are in that same area, and it's like as soon as they see him, like Bunny and Addie, they go ape shit and scare him, so he would run away so he wouldn't go in the litter box. So I'm like, dude, so we have to like keep it in the room now so that he can like have access to it whenever he needs it. And it's like, dude, it's such a pain in the ass because like the room wasn't like made for like having this like giant fucking box like right next to like the entertainment system and stuff. So it's like a pain in the ass. It's like awkward, like walking in with it.
It's unfortunate.
But since the last episode of the podcast I recorded with Troy, we talked about WandaVision, but now WandaVision's finally over. It's done, and it was great. I thought it was great. I was actually surprised at how good WandaVision turned out to be.
Agreed. Yeah, I loved it. I bought too much into like the obvious like internet hype and stuff. So like the ending, I was like, "Whoa, that none of that stuff happened." But I still really liked it. I thought it was good. But no, I was about the journey for me, and I just thought it was really good. And then like I would have liked something a little bit more enthralling at the end, but it was really really good. I'm happy with what we got.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I feel like the actors kind of hyped up. They said that there was going to be a like
if it not exactly like that's the only reason why is because they themselves like hyped it up to some ridiculous shit. Like there's a fucking Luke Skywalker level cameo at the end. It was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and there wasn't. And then Paul Bettany basically saying that like working with someone he's always wanted to work with, and it was himself. And it's like, dude, like congrats, like yeah, you got everybody.
What a great troll.
I know. But yeah, all in all it was good. I would have really liked to have seen Doctor Strange and that was my other biggest disappointment was the fact that they like had the dude from the Fox Quicksilver universe in, and it was just a throwaway, and I'm like, man.
No, and that was definitely intentional. There's like no fucking way. They were just like, we just really like Evan Peters. Like he's a good actor. It's like, no, you know damn well what you were doing. Like you specifically chose the guy who played the other Quicksilver to play this role just to fucking troll people, which I applauded in when they did that shit with Iron Man 3, but like this was a little bit more like, how dare you?
Yeah, I was like, that was more of a gut punch than anything else.
Now I'm like trying to figure out the Spider-Man 3 rumor thing. Like, is it true or is it not? Because like you know the thing about like they're bringing back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield allegedly.
Yeah, well, because they have Jamie Foxx and Doc Ock and like all these people from the other movie universes.
And it was like highly reported and shit. And then like Tom Holland said he's like, no, I haven't worked with those actors. But like, is he just straight up lying, or is it like I don't know what to believe anymore? I don't know. Which like obviously they're not gonna want to spoil shit. But it's gonna. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Because yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors of them seeing like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man suit on set and stuff. Yeah. But I mean, with it being,
I feel like in that capacity, maybe we will get that. I hope that one's true.
Yeah.
I just hope that one's true.
Yeah, and I mean, I almost feel like it has to be like otherwise the Jamie Foxx like these actors are confirmed. Like it's not like rumors or they're confirmed to like be in it. So it's like I feel like it makes sense. So I don't see how they could be in the movie as like their characters if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, especially since Jamie Foxx as Electro was so horrible. There has to be a reason why they just had to have him play that character.
And it's because their choices are like, well, we either have Giant Alligator or Jamie Foxx. Since there's only those two villains.
Yeah, or that, or the other Green Goblin they did in that movie. Ugh.
Gross.
Gross. Yeah. Yeah. I don't like. I love watching bad superhero movies, but I don't think I'll ever revisit The Amazing Spider-Man 2 again. Like that was a truly atrocious movie.
Because that was the other rumor I had heard. Because so like when they announced the like the name or whatever for the No Way Home or yeah, is that yeah No Way Home or whatever for the Spider-Man movie, like Tom Holland, like the other actors and actresses or whatever, like all released fake trailer names and stuff. And from like I heard people were like dissecting those trailer names and stuff and said that the reason that was intentional on Marvel's part, and that each of those represents a different Spider-Verse. Like the
Oh.
one was like about, it was like, had something to do with like pizza or something, and that in Tobey Maguire's one, that he was a pizza delivery boy, and
Yeah.
then the one was Spider-Man Homewrecker, which Andrew Garfield ruined the entire state, like all the Stacys basically died in his universe, so he was a homewrecker. And then the third one or whatever was, I don't remember what Tom Holland's one, but it was basically for the Tom Holland Spider-Verse thing. So it's like people were like dissecting it. It's like this could be like all the different Spider-Verses as different titles and stuff.
Dude, it's gonna be crazy if we get all these Marvel movies this year. Like, I feel like they gotta push some.
Well,
Like,
I'm really happy they finally announced that Black Widow's finally in April coming out on Disney Premiere or whatever and in theaters.
I think they moved it to July, but yeah, and they're gonna do theaters, and I'll confirm. Black Widow release. Yeah, they theaters and Disney Plus. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, July 9th is the new release.
Okay, yeah, July.
I saw that for you, they're moving the new Saw movie in its place though, for the first week of May.
Yeah, I haven't even seen it. I haven't heard anything about it except for I forget who. Do you remember who's
Chris.
directing it? It's
It was written and starring Chris Rock.
Yes.
It was written by
Yes,
Chris Rock,
that's it.
and it stars him and Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, I'm ready for that. Like, I only really like the first like two Saw movies, but like I'm down for a reimagining or whatever.
Yeah, because that's my thing. Like, I honestly think like the first five like are really good, and then after that they like just like the storyline. I guess they just like kind of fuck it so hard with like, well, you thought this was his apprentice, but this guy, and then at the end they're like, this guy was his apprentice all along, and it's like, dude, come on, man. But it's like I used to only really like the first two, and then it's like I hated the third one, and then as the later ones came out, and it's like I rewatched the third one, I'm like, man, dude, this third one's actually pretty good in comparison to like what comes later.
Just because there are worse things doesn't make something that is bad good.
It makes it
Like,
inherently better though. It doesn't make it good, but it made me appreciate the third one more. I didn't have that appreciation until I saw, okay, there are worse Saw movies than the, because when there was only three, I'm like, this is arguably the worst one. But then when there's 9 of them, I'm like, hey, the third one's not even the worst half of them. So
Yeah. So if okay, so yeah, back to Black Widow. So Black Widow's coming out Disney Plus and in theaters in July. How can they have Black Widow in July, so more than halfway through the year, and then have Shang-Chi, and then have Eternals, and then have Spider-Man all within like a 5-month period? Like,
well, and
I
when's
just don't.
Doctor Strange? Isn't Doctor Strange?
Doctor Strange is filming right now, so that's not coming out this year.
Well, I know
That'll
not
be-
this year,
that's
but
like
I think it's next. Isn't it next year? Sometime next year, though.
probably late next year, I'd imagine. So I imagine like some of those movies got to move. Uh,
Yeah, I feel like everything kind of just like Marvel's entire like timeline of shit got pushed out like so far because
I know
of
that's what
COVID.
I'm wondering too. Is like because a lot of times these movies like set up another one or they introduce shit. So I'm wondering like if it's fucking up their shit there like pretty bad. Like that we got WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier like prior to seeing Black Widow, but Black Widow is like a prequel, obviously. So
Yeah,
I don't think that matters.
I'm
But
I'm assuming there has to be like a post credit or something, which I think is why they've waited this long to, because I think that's everyone kind of thought like, you know, why they were like pushing Black Widow like so far, because that shit was supposed to come out like forever ago, and it's like they've just kind of been holding it in the vault and pushing it out, and it's like, you know, she's dead, so it's like I don't see like what in the Marvel universe it's really going to affect, but I think it's kind of like maybe like a post-credit thing or something that's gonna like set up, I don't know, Shang-Chi or like something that it's like they were having to wait until, okay, well, until the next one behind Black Widow was going to be lined up with like a solid date to then be like, okay, then we can throw Black Widow here, so then this is going to make sense or something like that.
because last year was supposed to be Black Widow and then Eternals, but now I think currently they have it set for like Black Widow, then Shang-Chi, and then Eternals, and then Spider-Man in December. And Spider-Man obviously is owned by Sony, so they're going to do whatever the fuck they want. And they plan on releasing Spider-Man in December, so they're going to do that shit. So, like, I don't know. I don't know anything about Shang-Chi or Eternals. I've never read those comics. I'm not familiar with those characters. Like, I don't know what the fuck they do. I don't know what their relevance will be to the rest. But I don't know. I hope so. I'm like starving for content, so like I'll take anything. But it just doesn't seem to make fiscal sense to release those movies that close together.
Right. I was like, I'm really excited too, because speaking of stuff coming to demand, I'm like, we get Godzilla here next week, which I've been waiting for. And then
like
Mortal Kombat the next month on HBO Max, which I normally don't give a shit about Mortal Kombat, but this looks so good. Like the fact that they actually got like people from like the Raid and shit like that, like actual martial arts people, like it looks dope. Like I'm here for it.
Like, I fully expect both of those movies to be bad, but that's why I'm glad that I can watch them on HBO Max, because I don't have to pay for it.
You expect
Like,
Godzilla to be bad?
Yeah. They have been. Like, I didn't see the last one, King of Monsters,
You didn't
but
want... Okay.
I saw the one before it with the guy from Kick-Ass and Walter White. That one was terrible. I hated that movie. And so therefore I didn't see the last one with like 11 from Stranger Things, and like I read that one was bad. I saw the Kong movie, Kong Skull Island. It was okay. It was fun, whatever. Weird. I don't expect anything from that movie. I'll watch it. It's gonna be silly.
Well, yeah.
I'll be pissed if Kong wins. But like, you know, I'll watch it for free. Same thing with Mortal Kombat. I think it looks like trash, but like I fully expect it to be horrible. But like it looks like obviously leaps and bounds better than any Mortal Kombat movie or TV series that we've had before. So like I'll take it. I'm just still like not down with Warner Brothers concept of like all movies this year going straight to HBO Max, because like obviously I'm dying to go back to theaters, but it doesn't give me incentive to if I could just wake up that day and turn it on my TV without having to pay for it. But like I just hope they wisen up, especially for like Matrix. Like if they do end up releasing Matrix 4 this year, like that's bullshit. Same thing with Dune. Like, don't put Dune in people's TVs. Like that, you should go to the fucking theater to see that shit. Like I just like people, like the vaccines are now readily available to the entire country. Like why don't you just cut it off at like July, and like every movie after this is like going to theaters exclusively, or if like release the smaller movies on HBO, and like movies that are dependent on that money. Like if you're trying to start a franchise, like you gotta put it on in theaters to do that. Like they lost so much money on Wonder Woman 1984. Like the last movie made over $1 billion, and they made like 200 million total on this one. That doesn't even cover like the budget of the movie. Like it's just nonsensical.
Yeah, well, I was like, after Wonder Woman 84, I was like...
Well, and it turns out that made sense, because that movie was such a bomb.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you know what? Maybe if we give it to people for free, they won't make such a big deal about how massive of a turd this movie is.
Yeah, dude. I was like, but no, I'll agree, like, the 2014 with Bryan Cranston, that Godzilla movie, I'll admit it's... Like, it has one of those where it's like, I think the people storyline is better in that movie, but yeah, you don't see Godzilla until like the last like 30 minutes of the movie, and it was just okay. King of Monsters, they did the opposite, where it's like, they're like, all right, the human storyline is gonna be fucking stupid, and no one's gonna give a shit about it, but giant fighting monsters is what you're here to see, and that's what it delivered on. It basically did the Pacific Rim thing where they're like, here's the base plot, kaiju fights, and I'm like, yes, that is what I want, and that's what they delivered on. And Megan's like, she was like, dude, the story wasn't that good. I'm like, dude, I didn't give a shit about the story of Godzilla. Like, who fucking cares? I'm like, Mothra, Godara, I'm like, fucking Godzilla duking it out. That's all I came to see. And that's all that, I mean, and that's pretty much what they're setting up for like Kong and stuff. It's like, Yeah, there's giant monkey with axe and nuclear dinosaur. Go. Like, who cares? And then Mechagodzilla's supposed to be in it, which that's my boy.
Damn.
So, and same with Mortal Kombat. Like, it's like, I think they kind of realized, like, dude, we don't really need a plot for Mortal Kombat. Like, you have a girl with the dragon tattoo, giant tournament, fight. Like, if that's all they do, it's like, cool. That's all you need. Like, you don't need.
Well, I mean, it just in the matter of like, obviously, like just by watching the trailers, like the dialogue and the acting is atrocious.
Well, yeah,
and that's why I just know that it set my expectations. It's going to be another terrible video game.
But see, I feel like,
but the action will be dope.
Yeah,
but the action will.
Yeah, the reason I feel like the dialogue and whatever's horrible is because most of these people aren't actors; they're martial artists that they got to like. They're in it or whatever, so they can like actually do flips and fight, and so the CG doesn't look. There's not. You don't have the Mulan effect of people on fucking wires like flying through the air and shit, and it looks bad, like Wonder Woman 84 and Mulan.
Hey, thanks for reminding me of Mulan. I keep forgetting that movie happened, and I paid the $30 to rent it permanently from Disney Plus, and then I was like, oh. I never want to see that again.
And then now it's free on Disney
else.
Plus, and you're like, thanks.
Yeah. Well, that's why I didn't do the Raya the Last Dragon thing. Like, I do really want to see that movie, but I'm like, they said it was going to be on Disney Plus in like June. I'm like, okay, I can wait it out.
You're like, I don't want to see it that bad.
I don't want to see it $30 bad. Like, I considered going to the theaters, but she didn't want to do it. I'm like, we could see these in theaters for like $10 to $15. Like, but yeah, you know, COVID and stuff. But I got my first round of vaccines yesterday, so a couple weeks time, I'll start feeling a little more confident in doing things again.
Dude, and then you can walk through the grocery store with your mask off like all the other cool bros.
I won't do that.
Well, yeah, dude, that's the thing, Tanner. You have to understand that you don't want to look like a pussy wearing a mask when you're getting groceries. All right. Dude, yeah, we went to Fry's the other day, and like half the people in there aren't wearing masks, and I'm just like, dude. Like, what the fuck? Like, I know it's been lifted, but you can still fucking wear a mask. Like,
just like how moronic is that? Like, literally, like the day that it opens up for people to sign up for shots, like our ridiculously retarded governor is just like, no more masks, guys. Like, I'm like, it's like a month-long process to get like clear, even after getting vaccines. It takes a long time to do it. It took me like 3 hours to get through that shit with an appointment yesterday. Like, what do you mean you're lifting the mask policy like immediately? Like, even if in theory everybody in Arizona like this week were to get their first round of shots, they still have to wear a mask for at least another month. And then in a perfect world, if everybody was vaccinated and shit, then I guess you could do it. But doing it right now is like insane. Like, god damn it. There's so many dumb fucking people in politics.
hey guys, it's your boy, Justin Time Carter, from the Nothing to Play podcast, and I'm here to talk to you about a little ditty called Anchor. That's right. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free, it has creation tools that allow you to record and, that's right, edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Mind you, I don't use those tools, but I could. And Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other places where podcasts can be heard. You can even make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership, which is good for me because I have like maybe 8 listeners. And there's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And that one place is the Anchor app or anchor.fm, and it's free to get started, and you download it. Just give it a download, and when you're done downloading it and you're making your podcast, you can listen to the Nothing to Play podcast, which is a mediocre podcast about video games, movies, and ad reads. I was like, speaking of politics, I'm like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like that transition. I was like,
Yeah, that was good. Yes.
Started last week. So
Yeah.
episode 2 came out on Friday. That's what filled in the gap for WandaVision, and then Loki will, I feel like, follow suit, filling in the gap for Falcon and the Winter Soldier once that's over. And I think it's been pretty good. I mean, episode 1, did a lot of kind of establishing what Falcon and Bucky and stuff have kind of been doing since after the events of Avengers Endgame and stuff like that. And kind of seeing like what the world's kind of like after everybody. We kind of get to see some more of like the aftermath of like the blip and stuff and people returning.
Yeah, definitely a lot of setup in the first one. It was kind of slower. The second one I thought was really good. Yeah, I mean, it's just like WandaVision, where like going into it, like I don't really care about either of these two characters, and I'm not like hype about the show. Like I liked Winter Soldier in the comics, but like I don't really care about the MCU version, and the same thing with Falcon. So I'm like, they're taking like two like B-level characters that I don't really care about, but I'm interested to see where it goes. But I'm hoping it's like WandaVision, where like it's in by like the third episode, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm super down for this. I don't remember how many episodes it's gonna be. I think it's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, it's 6.
6, okay. But yeah, obviously the movie Winter Soldier is really good. So I'm interested to see where it goes. I think in episode 2 they took it to interesting places that I didn't expect, particularly with like the super soldier from like the 70s, which I did read up on because there was a bunch of articles that came out yesterday about like that comic run. I guess it was some big controversial thing in the early 2000s, but I thought that was an interesting take to go with, and I thought it was like a timely choice. So I think it could be interesting. I hate that they confirmed that the Avengers don't get paid for their services, and I'm like, what the fuck?
So,
Falcon's just a broke ass bitch, and he's like saving the world all the time.
Cause yeah, that's like what I thought was interesting too, or like the most like unrealistic thing was that like an Avenger would have to go to like a bank to get a loan. And I'm like, dude, you're friends with like Pepper Potts, and like even if like whatever, I'm sure like the government like would be more than willing to like
You could sell your jetpack for millions of dollars, and you sure have spares.
like yeah, would be willing to set you up like with like someone who could give you like a fucking loan. Like you're doing shit that apparently nobody else can do. But yeah,
He's also a veteran of the U.S. military. He's definitely got like payments there. It's just ludicrous.
but he doesn't have
like
the past 4 years of credit history. I'm like, what about the, I don't know, 25 years of credit history prior to him being gone for 4 years? Like, what about that? Like,
Yeah, so that part is silly. Interested to see where they go with the new Cap. It's interesting. I didn't know that guy is Kurt Russell's son, and I totally see it now.
I didn't know that yet. I did think that was kind of interesting that like they kind of started the episode off episode 2 with him, and we kind of got to kind of see a little bit more about him, and they kind of really
I don't hate him. Is the thing. I thought he's kind of an interesting character. Like I'm sure he'll end up being the world's biggest piece of shit.
Yeah,
at some point in this series.
Yeah, they kind of showed that at the end and stuff when fucking Falcon, he's like, all right, he's like, then don't get in my fucking way, and it's like, okay, I can tell he's gonna be that like Guy Gardner of fucking Captain America, where you're just like, dude, this guy's such a douche. But yeah, I thought it was cool. They kind of really accelerated, I thought, like the plot along in this one by like Bucky just like shows up now and like, all right, let's team up, like, and stuff. So it's like they're already, the fact that we got Bucky, Falcon, and the new Captain America all like fighting together already in episode 2. I thought that was funny that he like showed up. I was like, dude, we're already. I didn't think we were gonna get this for like another like 2
I
episodes,
know.
and I was like, man. I was like, they were already just like, I mean, with 6 episodes, they don't really have time to spare. So it's like they like really got it going. I was like, all right, I'm not sad about that.
Yeah, and they're bringing Zemo in on the next one.
Yeah,
So
I'm excited that
looking
like,
forward for
get
that.
Zemo out.
Yeah, so we'll see where it goes. I also forgot about Loki. That should be fun.
Yeah, I'm interested. That's kind of what I thought with all this was because like WandaVision was like the real like far like on the left side of the spectrum of just real weird like multi-dimensional like reality warping bullshit, and then Falcon and Winter Soldier is like the far right of normal kind of spy espionage street level bullshit, and then Loki's kind of gonna I feel like be like the middle ground of it's weird like time cop shit, but it's also grounded because it's like Loki and like whatever. So it's like gonna be that like middleman between them.
Yeah, definitely. We got so lots of Marvel stuff coming this way, but also lots of DC goodness coming out these days and coming in the future.
Yeah, I was like, your Snyder cut finally came out. It took
Yeah,
Tanner
the Snyder cut.
5 days to finally watch all of it.
Yeah, I'm never gonna. It takes me days to watch a 3-hour movie, so the 4-hour movie, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be done in doses. But yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of the Snyder cut.
Did you
I
watch
thought
it
was
in the
great.
black and white version?
No, no, I just watched the regular version when it came out. It does it's interesting in the way you slice it because they present it in a 4:3 format because he shot a lot of it on IMAX. So instead of wanting to crop the image for widescreen, the whole movie's presented in like a full screen format. But it's because he shot things like really tall and it makes everything look like super epic. So like it's kind of an adjustment getting used to that, but it makes sense while you're watching it. But the improvements are drastic. Like it's like a lot of the same plot points and beats in the first like 2 acts. And a lot of the same scenes, but just completely different. Like they're in the same settings, or like it's the same like story beats they're hitting, but like the entirety of the content is different. Steppenwolf, his design is completely different. Like he looked like shit in the original one, and now he looks fucking cool. Like he looks like what's the what was the villain in the original Thor movie? It's like the Destroyer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like he's got like a metal body like that with like spikes, and then he's got like a really like intricate face. So he looks like they spent a lot of money redoing Steppenwolf, I could tell. And then obviously it's 4 hours long. The original movie was 2, so it's like there's a lot of content. I don't want to like spoil things, but there's like DC characters that were not in it before that are in it now, that are really juicy, and some of which are unexpected. Yeah, it's just fucking sick. Like it's just like the whole like third act, which I would say is like the last 2 hours of the movie, is completely different. In this movie, the Flash is actually the Flash. Like in the theatrical cut, like he's just some like pussy who like doesn't know how to use his powers and he's too afraid to use them all the time, and he just like sits on the sidelines like afraid of parademons and stuff. Not in this movie, dude. In this one, it's like he's full on fucking Speed Force Barry. Like, just he can do fucking anything. Like, and he's like not afraid to do it. And like the effects are fucking dope. And you get to see a lot of really awesome Flash shit in the movie. And then Cyborg, who was just like useless in the first one, he's like the star of this movie. Like, he's like the main plot is around like Cyborg, and like he actually has like a fully fleshed out story, and you actually care about him and like him, as opposed to him being a little whiny bitch boy in the other movie. Like, so there's a lot of Cyborg and Flash that you didn't have in the original movie. And same thing with Superman. They don't have any of that garbage like mustache footage that Joss Whedon did. Um, yeah, he's like way better. His resurrection makes a lot more sense. It's completely different. How he joins up with the League is completely different. Um, yeah, the visual effects are great. The action is way longer and more drawn out in a much like more immaculate way. The scene at the beginning with like, and I assume you saw the theatrical.
Yeah, I've
League.
seen the original version.
Like the action is just so much more fleshed out. Like at the beginning when Wonder Woman has they break into that bank and they're holding up the children and they're gonna like blow up the whole city. Like that fight is sick. It's like 5 minutes longer, but like super epic. And like she like these motherfuckers like she'll like hit them and they'll like go bash into the wall and their like brains will like splatter on the wall. It's like fucking intense. Well, there's not too much of like the over the top violence when it comes to like Wonder Woman and stuff like that. They don't want to make her look bad, but you do notice it like in passing. Like, oh, she just flung that guy at the wall, and now there's a bunch of blood that splattered on it. And it's cool. And then Batman is like no more fucking jokey Batman. Like he's just like fucking sick. I love Batfleck. I do. I really love Batfleck. So. I want to see him as much Batman as I can. It sounds like he's gonna be in the Flash movie. But yeah, it's a lot better. The battle when they did when they were explaining Steppenwolf, in the backstory of that, it's like a 20-minute long sequence or something, but it's like. There was a bunch of DC like Easter eggs and shit in that scene before, but this one is like crazy. It's like a really epic and cool like Lord of the Rings style battle, and you've got like lanterns and you've got Ares and Zeus. Like Zeus is like flinging lightning bolts at like people and shit, and Ares is like actually like fighting with the good guys and shit. And you got the Atlanteans, and it's just fucking epic, man. It's really cool. And then of course Darkseid is in the movie, and he's fucking dope as hell. Like should have been there in the first place. And you actually get a lot more scenes with him than I anticipated. Like I thought he'd just be in it for like 30 seconds, or he'd be like Snoke in Force Awakens, and it kind of is like that, but much more than that. So like you get a lot of DC goodness, and then there's like a whole fucking epilogue after the movie that's like 20 or 30 minutes long, where they just do bonkers. Like, we're gonna give you like a ton of crazy DC goodness because you're probably not gonna get a sequel to this movie. So let's show you a bunch of shit that we would have done if we got to go further with this.
Dude, I was like, that's cool that they like. I was telling Matt that. I was like, man, for the Flashpoint movie, I was like, they're gonna try and like make the Snyder cut the original cut, like fix it.
I'm stoked for the Flash movie, but I read a thing earlier this week about how like Michael Keaton might pull out. Like he's kind of nervous about doing it. I don't know. I hope not. I'd love to see Michael Keaton join the DC universe. So do you think you're going to watch the Snyder Cut at some point?
Yeah, it's like, I definitely will. I feel like at some point watch it. It's just, it's really just more that like 4-hour hurdle of, and it's the same, like I would probably have to end up watching it in parts, and it's one of those things where it's like, I know Megan has like absolutely zero interest in watching it, so it's like something that I would have to watch like on my own.
Yeah.
But I was like, other superhero stuff also came out this week on Amazon Prime. The first 3 episodes of Invincible finally came out. And then a new episode is going to come out like every Friday.
I've never read Invincible, and I'm not at all familiar with it. But I hear good things about the show.
Yeah, no, I've never read Invincible. I know of it because I know Matt in college and stuff like sat there and like read through a bunch of it and stuff. But I never actually read the comic because it's I believe Image. It's Image Comics, I think, that does it. But yeah, the whole general premise is like, there's like in this world and stuff, there's like their version of like the Justice League or like whatever, and the Omni-Man or whatever is basically like Superman, but he's not actually a part of like their Justice League. He helps them, but he doesn't want to be like under like the thumb of the government, like whatever. So he will assist them, but he's not actually like a member of them. And his son, once he finally gets his powers and stuff, and like they're basically like, I forget what their race is called. It begins with like a V, but very similar to Superman, where he came from a different planet and stuff, and they have powers, and like he came to Earth or whatever to like be its like sole protector and stuff, and then that's when he met like a human woman, and it's also kind of similar, I guess, to Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and stuff, where it's like another being came to this Earth or whatever, and then met a woman, had a child, like, and stuff. So he basically gets powers, and he's like training him to, you know, use his powers. And they have like their other versions of almost like, you know, the Teen Titans or like Young Justice, like whatever and stuff. And he's kind of like becoming a member of that. And there's like different races and stuff that like invade the Earth and stuff. It's him kind of like learning to do his powers while balancing like a normal social life. And it kind of reminds me a lot of Batman Beyond with Terry. Ooh. And stuff, where Terry, like, that was like a lot of the plot points and stuff in Batman Beyond is him trying to struggle keeping a like relationship while also trying to be Batman and stuff, and the downfalls of trying to juggle both and like protecting everyone that's involved.
It's like Spider-Man.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so the first 3 episodes of that, and it's good. The animation's good, and it's very gory in parts and stuff. And each episode, it kind of has like a, almost like, it's like you get like 6 or 7 seconds of credits, and then you get like this like scene or whatever, and then there's like the rest of the credits and stuff. And the scene like always seems like set up, like it makes you like want to watch that next episode. And they did what they did for The Boys, where they released the first 3, and then they're like, yeah, and then now new episodes will come out every Friday. And I'm like, God damn, like, so they give you the first 3 to like, if the first episode doesn't get you, they're like, these next 2 will. And then it's like, all right, yeah, now I want to watch it, and now I have to wait until fucking Friday for the next episode.
Nice, yeah, I can't wait for the next season of The Boys. I really like that.
Dude, the last season was like, I thought last season was like really good and stuff, and I thought because you finished season 2, right? Yeah, the girls get it done at the end. I thought that was fucking hilarious. That was so good. Like The Boys knows like what it is and like what it's doing and stuff, and like plays off that so well.
Yeah, it's a fucking great show. I can't wait for that to come back. It's like we're gonna be hit with like an onslaught of theatrical movies now, since so many movies were put on hold, but then we're gonna have a fucking drought of TV shows for a while because of like the halting of series sets for so long, and so they're so behind on schedules and shit. So like the second half of this year, well into next year, we're gonna have like so many goddamn movies, and there's gonna be so little shows.
Dude, it's like, that was my only disappointment with season 2 of The Boys. Like, I want just to watch Homelander go ape shit. Like, full on ape shit. Like, we got like the one scene and stuff when where the people were showed him like laser down all those people, but it was just like in his head. But I'm like, man, I want that. Like, I want him to go, everyone to realize like how fucking crazy he is.
Yeah. Other DC shit, they released the new Suicide Squad trailer.
That is true. Yeah, I did watch that. I thought that it looks good. I mean, from like what I can tell, it looks funny, and it looks like it's a lot of like them like walking around like doing like, they showed, that's what the trailer I think showed the most, more than anything, is just like the banter between the team and stuff, which I like. We didn't really get Harley Quinn was the main person doing that in the first Suicide Squad movie, but it looks like they kind of have a lot more people involved in that like team building, like banter and stuff, which is part of the fun of part of the fun of building a team is the actual building of the team.
It looks very James Gunn. Like, it looks very Guardian.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
It should be fun. Yeah, it'll be very ridiculous, over the top, and gory and stuff. Like, it should be good. On paper, it sounds good. Fucking Sylvester Stallone is voicing King Shark.
When does that come out? Is that coming out in like on streaming too, or is it strictly theaters?
If Warner Brothers sticks to their fucking guns, then we'll see it at our homes in August on HBO Max, or you could go pay to see it in theaters. See, that's like that one, Dune and Matrix. Like, no fucking way I would put those on HBO Max. Like, not a chance. Like, those should be theatrical releases only. Like, I just don't understand what they're doing.
Is Matrix even still supposed to come out this year? Because Matrix
allegedly,
and John Wick 4 were both supposed to come out at the same time this year. And I doubt that's happening, but...
No, so, like, yeah, so they shot Matrix 4 already. Allegedly, it's still coming out in December. I don't want them to push it, but they should push it because it shouldn't go on fucking streaming services. So I feel like they'll be like, oh, post-production is taking too long, guys. We're going to have to move this into 2022. Which then in point, like, they can't stick to their, like, all of our movies this year are going to be in theaters and directly on HBO Max. So, like, I feel like that one will probably slip into 2022. And then as far as I know, I don't think they ever started shooting John Wick 4.
Man, I am excited for Matrix. So I want to see a trailer because I'm like, I want to know, like, what they're doing.
I know. And, you remember when I talked to you about it before? Like, I never watched the Matrix sequels.
Yeah.
I just never wanted to sully the originals. And then last year, I was like, okay, so it's locked down. I'll go ahead and finally do it. I'll watch the sequels because I know there's a fourth one coming out, and I'm going to have no fucking clue what's going on if I don't watch 2 and 3. But I never watched them because everybody always said they were terrible. And I loved the first one so much. So I was like, I don't know. But then I watched the second one, and I'm like, yeah, it's ridiculous. It's not as good as the first one, but I thought it was entertaining. But then everybody says the third one is the real trash. And then I never watched the third one still. I still need to watch it.
Yeah, see, I like the second one. Like, I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, the first one is, like, a classic. And it's, like, it stands kind of on its own. And then, the second one, they do, like, there are some, like, ridiculous scenes. And they push the envelope and stuff. But I think it holds up for the most part. And, like, a lot of the effects... even in the second and third one, like, look a lot better than some of the effects in the first one. But yeah, no, the third one is definitely, like, realistically, 2 and 3 should have been one movie. And I feel like they could have they stretched it out and they could have honestly just made it, like, one, like...
From what I hear, like, the third one is mostly just the Neo and Agent Smith in a hallway or a train hallway. Just...
Well, yeah, because, like, that's pretty much the big third movie is, like, a lot of just build up and then the Smith fight, like, at the end and stuff. And, like, while all that shit's going on, it's, like, what Morpheus and Trinity and stuff are doing at, like, the human defending off, like, the Electro bullshit and stuff that's coming in attacking people, so... Now you can hear my dogs.
Yeah. I'm so stoked for Dune. I love that book. And that movie's supposed to only cover the first half of the book because it's so dense. And so, like, I don't know. How do they justify a big, expensive sequel if they're going to not make any money off of it by putting it directly in people's homes? Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Dude, that's, like... It's, like, weird because I don't think... Because, yeah, that wasn't marketed as, like, a part 1 or anything, right? Like, it's just...
No. They're doing, like, what they did with It. Like, they did, like, half the book, and they hope that it's going to be a big hit, and then they can justify, financing the sequel.
All right. I was like, because, yeah, I know there's this Side Night and Happiness game and stuff that just recently came out. It was on Kickstarter. It was called like Freakocalypse and stuff, and it just came out on the Switch and stuff. And I guess a lot of people are kind of pissed because when the game like ends, it basically like sets up. It's basically like a part one of like three, but that's never what the game was marketed as and stuff, and like nobody like really knew that that's like how this was gonna be until like it released, and people were like, oh, this isn't even like really the full game. And so they've kind of gotten in like some hot water for that and stuff because people feel like it was mismarketed.
Oh, it's like the No Man's Sky situation all over again.
Yeah, where people were like, except the fact is though that like I guess like they went back and fixed No Man's Sky, and finally it's like the game that was with multiplayer and like
well,
whatever.
It's funny because I was like, I got the game because I was bored at that time and I didn't know much about it, and I like pre-ordered it like 2 days before it came out back in the day when we'd pre-order things, and it showed up, and I was fine with it. I was entertained by it, but then everybody was up in arms about it. And I hear it's really dope now. You can also play it in VR, so I've been thinking about popping that in and playing that sometime. But yeah, I don't know. People and their expectations, or like that Marvel's Avengers game, like was apparently so fucking terrible, and they keep like doing like big updates to it to try and get people to play
Well,
it.
yeah, I guess they're supposed to be doing that, like, the Spider-Man update and whatever, but it's like, dude, no one's even playing that anymore. Like, it's pretty much, I think, a dead game at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't look great, and then I've heard nothing but bad things about it.
Troy,
at least the initial run.
I was like, Troy fucking bought it and played it, and even said it. He paid $60 for the fucking thing. It admits, like, it's awful. And I'm like, yeah, but you funded this. You gave Square Enix or whatever money for this. Because, yeah, I know, like, right now, it's like the video games and stuff are kind of in the same spot as, like, TV and movie, where a lot of the big, like, AAA games, whatever, like, everything is, like, being pushed back or pushed out and stuff because of COVID and stuff. It's taking longer for them to make it. So then it's like right now there's like a lot of stuff like not really coming out this year, I don't think, or if it is, it's not coming out until later this year, potentially next year, especially since like half of people can't even get a fucking PS5 still.
I think isn't that new dope looking Ratchet and Clank coming out sometime soon?
Yeah, I mean Ratchet and Clank comes out in, I believe, April, and then Resident Evil 8 comes out in May, which I'm really excited for Resident Evil 8.
Yes, I did play the demo of that. Okay, it looks like Ratchet got pushed to June.
Okay.
Damn it. Yeah, I'm thirsty for some like legitimate like first party PS5 content. For sure. But hey, what does Xbox have? They don't have a single game that's like made just for that console.
Well, yeah, they were like, "Oh, Halo Infinite's coming out this year," and then the reception of that was so fucking bad. They're like, "No, it's not." They're like, "This has to go."
Is it not coming out this year anymore?
I don't think so.
Yeah, then what the fuck do they have
Nothing.
that incentivizes people to buy their console?
Game Pass.
Game Pass is dope, but I could play it on my Xbox One X.
Yeah, but see, now you can play Skyrim on the new Xbox, since now they bought Bethesda, so now all of Bethesda's library is going to be on Game Pass.
Whatever, man. I've never been a huge... I mean, I like the Elder Scrolls games, but like I never got into Fallout. I don't really... I like their... Like, I don't understand the Fallout craze, because like Fallout 4 came out, and I'm like, God, this game looks like shit. Like, it looks like absolute trash. Like, it looks like it came out on the PS3 or something. Like, why is everybody jizzing their fucking pants over this game? Like...
Yeah, I don't know. I never really got into Fallout either, since I was always more Elder Scrolls, which I'm like, God, like I'm just waiting for 6 to come out. And I'm like, dude, the day that I have never taken like a day off for like at some time, like when like a game came out or something. Like I've never done that. Been like, oh, dude, this game's coming out. Like I'm calling out. Like Elder Scrolls 6 will probably be that game. Like, if and when that game ever comes out, I will probably, like, request off, like, 2 or 3 days. Like, the day that game comes out and, like, the day after. And then just play that game for, like, 2 days straight.
Hell yeah. God knows when that'll be.
Yeah,
Though.
I was like, I'll probably be 35.
We'll get a remaster of Skyrim before then.
Yeah. Dude, I was like, dude, this, ever since the pandemic, too, man, it's been, like, a scalper's fucking paradise with, like, everything. Like, you have the PS5, and then that fucking, the Animal Crossing, Hello Kitty, Sanrio, Amiibo cards and shit came out at Target, and those, like, disappeared, and now you see them, they're $6, and now you see them on eBay for, like, 80, $100 and shit. And people, like, taking pictures of them, like, in their fucking car and shit with, like, 10 of them. And it's like, dude, you're such a piece of shit. Like...
Ugh. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been going through it with, So I just bought, like, a new box of Magic cards, too. The Time Spiral Remastered or whatever just came out. And it is not a cheap box, normally. Like, for pre-orders, it was, like, I think $180 to, like, $220. And I ended up paying $246 for a box of it. And then right now, on like, to order one online off Amazon or whatever, it's like $350-$60, and card shops are selling them for $400. I'm like,
God damn.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, yeah, I was like, I probably would not even. It's
Thank
not
God
worth
I'm
it.
not into. Thank God I'm not into card hobbies anymore.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's a lot.
But it's like one of those things too, where it's like, I mean, me buying it, which I filmed a video opening it, and I'm still editing it, but it's like, from what I opened, like, just 8 cards that I pulled out paid for the box of 200 and whatever. Like, the one card was like $50, and then, like, a lot, like, it's like $30-$40 for just, like, one card. So it's like, I got my money's worth at least out of it. Yeah, you will not make money off of it if you try to buy it at like $400. Like, that's just losing money at that point. You're just buying the box, not opening it, and then hoping that the price somehow goes higher to then resell the box like a piece of shit online. But
yeah, damn, that's
it's just
crazy.
Supply and demand issues right now and stuff. Like, people are struggling to, like, print shit, like, make PS5s, make fucking cards and shit, and then people that can get a hold of this stuff are just hawking it.
It's gross. I wonder when it's gonna be, like, readily available.
Dude, I don't know. I did also finally get, so in Japan they have a Digimon card game, and it came out in the US. And
oh, cool.
Yeah, so there's, like, this new, like, I got Ty, Matt, and then TK's, like, decks and stuff. But the card game actually looks really fun, and it's like, I want to play it, but it's hard to fucking get because it just came out, like, I think late last year or whatever, and again, with, like, production issues, like, supply and demand's been crazy. And, like, no place has it. And it's, like, online, like, people are, like, hawking booster boxes and shit for, like, double their value and stuff. And it's like, dude, I'm not paying, like, $80 for, like, a starter deck. Like, sorry, that's not happening. And then finally, the card shop I went to finally had just the starter decks. And I was like, all right. I was like, I'll buy it at, like, normal price. Like, I'm not paying, like, out the ass for that.
Yeah, man. I do miss the days. of, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! And shit like that. It is fun. It's a high, like, getting those packs and, like, looking for cool, dope shit. It's just not a hobby I can justify. It's like back in my comic addictions. Like, I can't do comics, I can't do cards, because I get too obsessed with shit like that.
Yeah.
My obsessions are, like, vinyls and toys, because at least, like... I get use out of them.
Yeah, that's kind of been with, like, the Magic cards and stuff. Now I have a book now that I got and stuff, where with the boxes I've been opening and stuff, so I've been actually, like, sleeving them and putting them in, like, a nice, like, Ultra Pro, like, whatever book. So, like, the last 2 sets that just came out, Zendikar Rising, Caldeem or whatever, I completed the entire Caldeem set. Like, I ordered, like, the 20 cards I was missing or whatever online to complete like the collection and the book and stuff, and I'm gonna do the same thing for the other one.
Nice.
And it's like, yeah, I was like I'm not gonna go back for like older shit to do. Like I'm like going forward, that's like what I want to do with like some of the newer sets and stuff that are coming out. But I was like, I'm not gonna try and hunt down old cards because like once you start getting into like the older shit, that's when you're like paying like out the ass for like older cards. And I'm like, no, if I keep up with the current stuff, I can get shit while it's cheap before it like gets hella expensive in like 5 years. Because then it's not worth it to me.
Or I buy stuff like in advance, and then like I have to wait like a year for it to come in. Like last summer, they did like a kind of like a virtual Comic-Con event, and like Hasbro Pulse was doing a bunch of like exclusive toys or like early release toys and stuff. So I bought a bunch of Transformers that were like dope. Like I got this one. It's like it's the Back to the Future DeLorean, and he turns into this little Transformer guy. And I've got the Ghostbusters Ecto-1, and I've got a Top Gun airplane, and then I also got from Beast Wars. I got. Oh, this is so sick,
dude! I saw that they brought the Beast Wars stuff back. I'm like, that's
yeah.
awesome.
I got fucking Megatron, the fucking T-Rex motherfucker. He's dope. I love this guy.
That's awesome. I know. I remember I don't remember what his name was. The Beast War one that I remember having was it was like a hammerhead shark, and then
Oh God. Oh yeah. I don't remember his name. Yeah, it was like I didn't when I was a kid. Like Beast Wars was my introduction to Transformers. Like I got into that before I got into like actual cars Transformers.
well, see, that's what was weird. As a kid, I did not realize that. Like, I didn't really make the connection that Beast Wars and Transformers were the same thing. Like, I knew of Transformers, and I always thought it was weird that, like, Beast Wars, I was like, oh, this is also named Megatron and, like, Optimus Prime and stuff, but this is, like, a gorilla. Like, and then later on,
Optimus
I realized
Primate.
it was like, oh, okay, it's like a spin-off kind of, like, thing.
Yeah, but it was dope. So I'm excited about the toys. But yeah, I try to do it as minimal as possible because I really don't have that much shelf space. And also, like, the older I get, the more I'm trying to condense my nerdiness shit that I've got everywhere. Because I've just got so much of it. And I just, like, there's no way I could have it all out on display. So I'm just, like, building up stuff. Like, so I gotta chill in that regard.
Yeah, I was like, that's my problem is because of the dogs. Shit gets like so fucking dusty. So it's like with certain toys, like I was like, man, I wish I could like have like a lot of like Mario shit, like whatever out. But I'm like, they're just gonna get littered with dust and dog hair. So it's like I have to keep it to like minimal. And I buy like a bunch of compressed air and have to constantly like dust shit.
Yeah.
Have you been playing anything cool?
Not
No.
really. I've been ridiculously busy. I just don't have a lot of time to play games. When I am playing, it's usually I'm just playing Hades on my Switch.
Yeah.
So I can just pick it up 3 days later and be exactly where I was. But yeah, that game's a lot of fun. Like I've always been terrible at the Souls games and all that shit. So like I'm not into games where I'm just constantly dying and doing the same thing over and over again. But Hades I find really rewarding because of all the like upgrades you can do to your character and your weapons and shit between each death. And all the different weapons you can use. I really dig it. And the art style and stuff.
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty much like I've played a little bit on like Megan's PS5 and stuff, but it's like for the most part, like anytime I play games, it's pretty much on the Switch just because I can like lay in bed and do it and stuff, and then just like put it down or take it with me or do whatever. Like I've played more games since the Switch than I think before the Switch came. Before I had a Switch, I wasn't really playing anything because I didn't just have the time or energy, whatever. I'd try to
Exactly.
sit there and play and be falling asleep like in the chair like playing the game, and it's like I don't have time for this.
Yep. Or like I can't always have the TV taken over.
Yeah.
I only got one PS5, so it's like most of the time it's like if I want to play something, it's gonna be on the Switch.
Yeah, I actually picked up this game recently. It's called Loop Hero. It's on PC. It's by Devolver Digital. It's like one of their new games, but it's It's interesting because it's only on PC right now. I hope it comes to Switch at some point, but it's one of those where I think it works better on PlayStation because it's like, or not PlayStation, on PC or whatever, because it's like using the mouse and you have to like, it's managing like this little hero on this little loop track and you're kind of like adding, it's like a deck building game too with cards and stuff, and then you like lay down stuff for like your hero to fight and then to get equipment and stuff, and eventually you're like building up to like this giant like lich fight or boss fight at the end and stuff. But like the music is fucking fantastic. It's like one of the best video game soundtracks I've heard like in a minute. Like I've been like listening to it at work, like in the background and stuff while playing, and it's like it's been a minute since I've heard a video game soundtrack that was like that good that I was like listening to it while I wasn't playing the game like on repeat.
That's sick. Oh man, yeah, I'm thirsty for some good game content. Hopefully, we'll get some nice releases soon.
I know, like I said, yeah, Resident Evil 8's the next big one. I'm looking forward to our 9 foot tall vampire girlfriend overlords.
Yes, yes, yes. That should be sick. Hopefully, it's a bit lengthier than like the Resident Evil 3 remake, or
Right? Yeah,
or
it's
even...
like 3 hours long, and then you're done. Dude, I'll speaking of Resident Evil, I saw that they're doing the reboot movie and stuff for Resident Evil. And dude, that cast looks so fucking like I don't know what they're doing. Like the fact that Stephen Amell's brother's in it as
Ooh.
like Chris Redfield and stuff. I was like, dude, this is like not like like this is like some like early like if you told me that this was like an early like Netflix original show, like I would believe you based on the cast for this. And I'm like,
Holy cow! I didn't know about this.
yeah, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, dude, this is like there's no one that I'm like really like, oh man, I'm so happy this person's in it. I was like, did I
Oh my god, this is a who's list of like that movie's gonna suck.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, dude, like, I don't know why they picked these people to play these parts. I think the only person was like, I forget who's playing Wesker, but I think they're like the only like semi decent person like on the list.
Yeah, where have I seen that guy before? Oh, he was on Game of Thrones? No, barely. Like one episode. He's a TV actor. He was on that show Black Sails, which I didn't really see. Oh, I guess he's in Umbrella Academy as well. A bunch of shows I haven't watched.
You haven't seen Umbrella Academy?
No.
Oh man, dude, Umbrella Academy's good.
I am in need of a new show, so maybe that'll be my next one.
Yeah, I was like both season 1 and 2 were really good, but yeah, and it's superhero goodness. So and it's written by the lead singer of My Chemical Romance. So how could you
Oh,
not?
well, welcome to the Black Parade.
Dude, I always think about that movie. What? It's a fucking horror movie, the Wax Museum movie. Because in
House of
yes,
Wax.
House of Wax. Because in the credits they play "I'm Not Okay, I Promise" by My Chemical Romance, and it's like so fitting for that time period. It's like a 2004, 2003 like fucking horror movie.
It was so funny, like them and like a few other older bands like last year were gonna be like doing a big like reunion tour or whatever, and then it was shut down, of course. Like, sorry, the world's not ready yet for My Chemical Romance to come back.
It ain't ready. I know. I was like, I miss concerts.
Yeah, yeah. And that was like the what I was saying earlier about travel. I was like the opposite of that. I didn't go to like fucking any concerts in 2019. I went to like maybe like 2 shows. I don't even remember which ones. And so then it's been like a drought of concerts for like years for me now too. Same thing with cons. Like I went to so many cons for years. Like I needed a break from going to cons, and so that I didn't go to any cons in 2019. Then of course there wasn't any last year. Probably won't go any to this year. So then I think by the time next year when cons are a thing again, like I'll probably be fucking ready. I saw that San Diego is gonna do a con on Thanksgiving weekend this year, and there's some big controversy about it.
Dude, that's so weird. Like, I know they've been trying to do like I know E3 and stuff. This year is trying to do like a virtual E3 and stuff, and I'm like, dude, just like let it die, or like I feel like I'm like, why do anything at all? Like Nintendo has their Nintendo Directs, like Sony can just do their state of play. Like I was like, is it really just for like Microsoft? But they don't even have anything to really show off that I know of. So I'm like, what's the point?
Yep. I don't know. All I know is I'm ready to be out with. I want to go do shit again. I'm tired of being at home.
Dude, I know. That's like, dude, we go over to Matt's like every Sunday and stuff usually to like hang out, and it's like me. It's just like, man, I enjoy just like not being at home. I'm like, I work at home, I sleep at home. I've been working so goddamn much, and it's just like, dude, I just don't want to fucking be home anymore. Like, even just going to Target is like a fucking exciting event in my life. Like,
Yes,
because I'm like,
exactly.
dude, I'm out of the house, like, not fucking doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. I
But
completely
yeah,
agree.
I think,
But
yeah, I think that sounds like a good wrapping up point. Going to Target.
yeah, I actually do need to go to Target to get some things. I'm like scrambling for shit all the time. Like, oh wait, what? We're out of cat litter. I better go get some cat litter right now then.
Dude, yeah, we were like all the time, like we'll run out of like a couple things or whatever, like for like the store, and I'm like, oh, dude, I'll run to the store real quick and like get some. Megan's like, you don't need to do that. I'm like, no, that's cool. Like, just text me what
Yep.
you need. Like, I'm more than willing to like, go to the store and get whatever.
Yep.
I just want to fucking leave the house and like get something. But, dude, I appreciate you coming on the episode though. I've missed your face, and it's been nice getting to hear relive the trauma of having a puppy that gets into everything and having to deal with that again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I always love coming on and chatting with you. Maybe I'll get to see you in person pretty shortly
I
here
know.
soon.
I
Uh,
wanna come see the dog. I wanna come see the new house. You sent me that
yeah.
picture and stuff showing me your brand new table for board games.
Hell yeah. And also, I'm like super close to you. I'm like, my house is like, I don't know, like 3.5 miles away from yours.
Dude,
So
that's like walking
yeah, we're
distance.
close. It's gonna be like 90 degrees starting tomorrow. So
Okay,
we'll see about that.
not
But
Arizona
maybe we'll
walking
do
distance.
maybe we can do a puppy date sometime. Or I'm sorry, 5 massive dog date sometime. She's still growing, but she's getting bigger by the day.
Yeah, I was like, we'll start with one dog. So oh dude, I was like before. All right, so I was like before you. So because I don't think you know this and stuff. So Megan's brother got another dog.
What?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, yeah, this will be a fun little into the podcast here. Is Bunny, our first dog that we got, was Megan's brother's dog originally. He bought him from a pet store, took two separate bank loans of $1,000 to pay for the dog, got him, had the dog for about I'm gonna be generous and say 2 weeks, even though I believe it was less time than that. It did not want the dog anymore. Gave them to Megan's mom. She could not take care of the dog. Did not want the dog, and then so we ended up taking Bunny. And then eventually, like a couple months, like I think it was like 2 months later or something, bought Sarah for him and stuff. And then we had two dogs, and then they had a bunch of puppies years later, and now we have four dogs. But recently, and by recently I mean this is probably like it happened like I want to say last year, I think, sometime last year, whatever. Kale got another dog now. His name's Artemis, and it's a what the fuck kind of dog is it? Because it's not a husky, but it's like it's pretty small. Like it's like not gonna get very big. I think it was like the runt of a litter and stuff, but it's not like a tiny breed of dog. Um, but yeah, and he does not take care of it. Like, he doesn't take it anywhere or do anything. Like, anytime we go to the pet store, we buy his dog like treats. and like toys and shit usually and stuff, and we'll bring him over like for Christmas and stuff. We got him like a dog bed and like a bunch of shit, and like Kale didn't get him like anything. Like, and so like Megan's mom pretty much takes care of this dog, and like it shits in the house all the time and pisses places and like whatever, and it's like, dude, he like does nothing. Like, I think the novelty, like, he took his photos with the dog and stuff. He's like, yeah, I'm a dog owner. And then now it's like the novelty is worn off. And he just, like, doesn't care about this. So Megan's mom's pretty much like, this is pretty much my dog. Like, at this point, it's not Kale's dog. And I'm like, dude, like, why would you let him do, like, I was so baffled when I was like, you knew how this played out the first time, and you let him get another fucking animal. Like, I don't understand.
Because of you, I have 4 huskies in my house.
I'm like, you couldn't take care of the fucking first one. Like, Megan's offered to fucking buy the dog off of him, and I'm like, dude, we do not.
No.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't need a 5th dog.
You're not the Kale rescue dog.
I know.
Like, you can't
I pretty much am
dog.
at this point, but that's what made me think of it though when you were saying a puppy date and stuff, because he wanted to bring his dog over on Christmas and stuff, which he did, but we wanted to introduce the dogs beforehand and stuff, before just bringing his dog over. So it's like he brought the dogs, like, you guys are gonna stay in the garage, and then I brought like one of the dogs out, and then when they were coming up, I'm like, all right, then I introduced the second dog until eventually all 4 dogs, like, instead of sending them all in at once to just like pile on his like dog that's like a third of the size of my dogs, I was like, we'll do one at a time, and then once they get used to it, so then they're not all fucking working each other up and stuff, like trampling over your dog, because they just get excited.
God, welcome to our 30s. This is life.
Yeah, this is 30s.
A Judd Apatow film.
But yes, so thank you if you stuck around for the Kale dog story, for listening to another titillating episode of the Nothing to Play podcast, and I appreciate Tanner coming on, and whenever Tanner has his podcast, I'll come on.
Yeah, it's pushed back due to COVID,
Yeah, along with everything else. Production issues.